Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Ji ki Jai. What shall we do? If someone has a question, you can ask. Loudly so everyone can hear.
Father, is it okay for you to share how it was after you awakened? The first hour, first day, first week, first month.
How it was after an awakening?
For you.
How it was. On the promise that it doesn't become some sort of a benchmark or a concept.
Yes.
Many versions of this story. I know every time I share, I can also hear a different version that comes out. Basically, I sat like this in front of Guruji on the hot seat, and some silliness came like, you have to help me even with the first question. When I came to the hot seat, already everything just was starting to vanish. So I told him that for the past couple of days, the mind has been coming up with some very smart questions to ask. But as I come here now, nothing is really arising. So then what was happening was, as I was looking into his eyes, this whole concept of a separate existence started to dissolve. He just kept looking at me, and as he kept looking at me, I felt like something is cleaning out. These are the interpretation later, that all this idea about myself was being cleaned away. So I sat in front of him, and then all that silliness of laughing, crying, laughing and crying together, all that also happened.
Laughing because?
No, because only vanished. In fact, I remember saying, I don't know what's going on, or something like this. Because laughter came, then some crying came. It was like something was getting squeezed out of me also. So many things happen. Like I said, satsang is only 1% words, or less than 1% in words. And mostly more than words is energetic. More important than even energetic is just the presence. So, like this. And then after that, something, I know the mind came up with some questions about what happened. Is this going to be like this now? Very rare, very little thought activity.
Father, when you walked out of the hall, You could walk properly.
Yes. Walking was happening. But really this, what we share in Satsang, that there is no individual walker, individual doer. It was so clear that it is just happening. I'm watching the movie in which this body is walking. And the amount of thought activity, it became very little. Just the very basic things, even those were irrelevant. But if there was hunger, then this thought came, okay, we should go to Usha because uh, you're hungry. Or if late at night, then the thought would come, okay, you're sleepy now, go to sleep. Something like that. Maybe 10 thoughts a day or something like that. So it became very, very light and easy. Everything was continued to move.
So you were talking to people?
I was talking, there was some conversation going on. I know someone who came along with me in Satsang. He had another story. He had been thrown out of an ashram because he expressed his desire to attend Guruji Satsang. He was thrown out of that ashram at 4 a.m. So last minute, he also came to the same hotel where we were staying and stayed with us. So he was calling me Bhaiya. And he said, yeah, what happened to you? You're looking very radiant or something like this. He was saying, yeah, it's just Guruji's grace. Whatever happened. At that time, it was just, we used to say Muji, Muji's grace. So, and something happened in the sense that even if there was some work phone call that came, I remember answering the phone, interaction was happening. All the dealings of the world continue to happen. That's why when I say to you that it is completely possible for it to happen, it is not made up. It is from tasted experience, and it continues to be mostly that. Now, I will not say that thought activity continued to be at that very low level after that. After maybe a week or so, they were back. Thoughts were, I could see that they are more in number, but they did not have the punch, the magnetism, the same power that they used to have. So like this, it has been for a long time. Then for many months, there was no interest, not much interest in work. So then everybody's around me, I don't know what they were feeling. Maybe I was looking very sad or something. They said, "What happened to you? Are you depressed?" Are you very depressed? And I used to say, "Do I look depressed because I'm feeling so happy?" No, no, no. This is just positive talk or something. So many got convinced that I was depressed, but actually I was feeling so alive, so happy. Everything was just beautiful. And but the family was starting to get worried. My parents, my wife, everyone started to get a bit worried. So then I wrote to Guruji and said, "I'm so happy. I've never been this happy, and thank you so much for everything. But my family is a bit concerned about work and interest in work." So then he said that this is the natural flow of things, and tell your family that what is happening with you is best for everyone. Anyone who, I'm paraphrasing again, so anyone who comes is this is good for them, and this is the flow of life. If life energy comes and there is energy for work, then work can happen. If there is none, then it can be still. Either is fine. You are you are beyond. You are beyond this. It means you, I mean, all of us are beyond all of this. So this happened, and then some energy started to come back, and in fact, I started some big projects later also where there is work that has happened for 16-hour days, 18-hour days, constant work is happening. And there are other days where no work is happening. And both don't make a position about me. It doesn't become something about, it's not a strategy. Okay, so what did I do to make that 18-hour work day happen? Or what did I do to not do anything all day? Even nowadays are like that. Some days are just full on, full on, full on. Wake up, email, think, behave. And use various modes of communication in our work. So sometimes everything is coming at the same time, just dealing with that, and some days it's just empty inbox, and either are fine. So practically, like sometimes I can say that I'm very sorry to all of you. Like I said recently, that I'm not able to respond on Messenger or WhatsApp, and Facebook. I'm not able to email, not respond because other work is happening pretty for now. But the reality of the discovery stays unchanged.
So, Father, when you met somebody else and they are going through some pain, you felt it as your own?
Well, it's a there is some increase in some transference that happens when you interact. There is more. I can feel more of what uh, those who come to me. I can feel more of what is going through them. So somebody is very nervous in satsang, then I can feel that nervousness coming, changing. I can feel it vibrating. If there's some grief, then I can feel grief in my throat, especially sometimes my throat really gets caught up in something. Earlier, I was immature in the sharing, so I even would come in satsang and ask, so what is happening? Who's feeling grief or something like this? Now I know it's nothing to be pointed out in that way. So some transference is there, and yet uh, that which is playing as Ananta also retains its some intelligence, some idea of what is happening in this body versus what is happening in another body.
Father, if all the beliefs drop, all the concepts drop, then it has to be fresh every minute. The old patterns
Yes, but
are
even
gone.
that concept is not needed. Now, so you cannot make a plan out of this. You cannot create a has to be. That's basically what I'm saying. You cannot create a way that it has to be. All that you can do is check how it is now. How you are now is really no different from how I am. It is one being actually playing this interaction of Ananta and Soumya.
But the concepts and beliefs is what keeps us from being fully being, right?
It seems to create a layer of dust, if you can say, I am something, seems to play in the world different from just I am. So it's like a mirror which has all these conceptual dust stuck upon it, and we come to satsang and we just shrugging away that dust. We are not making something new out of you. Something you are the self. It is just that your presence, your being, consciousness, I am, is playing the game of believing itself to be something. It has a idea or a notion about itself, which is I am something. So this something is being chopped away. One by this direct pointing, just throw it away, it is meaningless. And one by looking back and coming to the recognition of your own source, I am itself. You see, coming to the recognition of I or awareness or the self and seeing that all this something can never truly apply. It is like loosening the hold of the something and then stop.
So it won't be like completely different behavior in another minute because there are no concepts, there are no beliefs, there's no set patterns.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it can be freely anything, any minute.
You see the nature of the world. Although everything is free, a plant is not deciding which branch to grow next, which flower to come next. And yet there's a beautiful symmetry in which things grow. Sometimes we cannot fathom why the branch is taking that direction. But if you give it some time, you will see the pattern, you will see something beautiful that nature is creating. The same is for every aspect of consciousness, including this life. Many times we cannot understand why this particular action happened this way, this particular movement happened in this way. But because it's the creation of God, ultimately, God will find some joy in it, some pleasure in it. So yes, even without this having a decision about what to do, because that is the play of the I am something. Even without that, many times things which are so unpredictable can happen, and yet overall, in the overall scheme of things, if you look at the life of a sage, it looks very beautifully flown. It doesn't feel like, mostly, although there are exceptions to every rule, a sage's life doesn't seem like the life of an insane person. Just like he says anything, anytime. You never know. It's like that. But many times it can, exceptionally, it can play like that. But even that plays within a beautiful structure or a beautiful pattern of consciousness. Like the Avadutas are famous like that. It's like the Avaduta sage in Tiruvannamalai who used to just walk into people's shops and throw everything around and insult the shopkeeper and something like that. And because he was well known in Tiru, then people would touch his feet and they would feel, oh, my shop is blessed. And as it turned out, then the shopkeeper would start doing very well. So these are the things.
Who is an Avaduta father?
Avaduta is meant to be somebody who's just like, they say, no, that even in a sage, this tanmatra of ego is there. So the sage is not just like behaving completely unpredictably. The family is not wondering who is this man sitting. So Avduta is like almost transparent in that thing. The identity is just like a very light leaf just hanging on the ground. You see? So they're like the extent of that extreme unpredictability can come with that. So they say, for example, to their family, who are you? What are you doing in my house? Or what am I doing here? Some kind of play like that can happen. It's so completely unattached. But even that tanmatra, this minute quantity of this condition exists even in their case. Because as Avduta as they might be, they're not jumping off terraces saying, I'm one with the sky and I'm one with the ground. They're not walking into the ocean saying, I'm one with the ocean. So this little bit of identification remains as far as this human birth has been taken. There's nobody with 100% transparency.
So it was not painful for you or confusion for you. It kind of flowed more smoothly here.
Yes. I feel like a lot of the pain and confusion was done here before I met Guruji. Where, I've been to a few masters, and some I even felt betrayed by, some I felt was something which was not right happened. These kinds of things felt very personal in those times. Before I met Guruji, a lot of the spiritual ups and downs. And to be honest, even before I met Guruji, a lot of the insight were present. So a lot of spiritual insights had come already, but this fluctuation, this picking up identity was very rampant. So by His grace, that became.
So the mind didn't come up with this thought that this will also shift and you might lose this.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
It did. So it had this thought like, is this going to be like this only? Or I hope this doesn't go. Guruji also tells the story sometimes that he went to sleep hoping that what it was, it does not go away next morning.
And that didn't hurt or hamper.
But it was not heavy actually. Here I have to say honestly that I knew quickly there was a recognition of this is just mine, it's just a thought. I would say that very few things actually got my belief.
Thank you for that.
GB says, hi, I'm new here. Can I ask a question next? Yes, my dear, you can. Let's see if you can find you. There you are. So now we have this new system, all right? So what happens is to see you, I have to look down at the computer and to
Yes.
look at you this way, then I have to look up at the camera. So don't get confused. Sometimes I'll be looking like this, and sometimes I'll be looking like this.
Yeah. Okay. So I would like to ask you about what to do when the attention is directed at the watcher. So it has happened to me that the attention kind of, it like sinks back or expands kind of. And how far I allow it to sink back varies greatly. One time I think I got so far that I felt like I was almost on some kind of edge or something, and then the fear took over and everything went black again, and I just feel like I don't have the courage to disappear because I always get the chance. I get so often this feeling. It's not very strong often, but I get it very often, but I always back out because it feels like I'm going to die, and
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ready for that yet. And it seems to always happen on its own. It's never, I have sat for hours trying to think myself into this experience, but it is always so totally outside of the mind that I feel like I could wait for years and it wouldn't happen. And I feel like when I try, it becomes a goal in my mind. And so I just go further and further away from it. So I feel like by trying, I will go further away from it. So do I just have to wait and hope it happens on its own? Because I'm kind of lost. I don't know what to do.
Okay, very good, very good. First question in Satsang. I want to start by telling you a little bit of a story about what happened a few years ago before I met Guruji. One day, what I uh, did was I decided that today will be the day. I will do the inquiry no matter what happens. I will not leave it. Because the same thing happens when we come to this place which is so empty of any phenomena. Some fear can come, and it can feel like the fear of death. You very rightly identified it. It can feel like unless I have some phenomena to hold on to, it can feel like I'm dying. And the thought can come and say various things. So that day what happened is that the first time maybe I did the inquiry really, really well, if there is such a thing to do the inquiry well. So to the key. So when the thought would come, then I would ask who's witnessing this thought. Anything would come, a visual would come, like these visuals of standing on the edge, jumping off, not jumping off. These imagery was coming, and I was saying, okay, what witnesses even this? What witnesses this? You see, so whatever the mind was throwing at me, imagination, thought, memory, everything, the question remained. So what witnesses that? Then what happened is then the question came, so who is what witnesses even my presence, my existence? You see? So
Mm.
for a long time then everything became very quiet. No phenomena, nothing, no breath, no body, nothing. It seemed like everything dissolves. Then after a long time the mind came with a saying, stop this. I will give you a good life. Stop this. I'll give you a good life. And the mind itself said, deal.
Yeah, yeah,
So much guilt was picked up, so much suffering was picked up. Oh, you made a deal with your mind, you cut a deal with the devil, you will never get it like this, so much unworthiness. So this kind of mind tricks can happen. So what we do in satsang is that we do this inquiry together. And then we find that it's so helpful to be in a satsang together because the master is there to tell you that don't worry, I walk down the same path. Even if the wobbliness of the fear is coming, it doesn't really mean anything. Don't worry, I'm holding your hand. You will not fall down anywhere. In fact, what you will experience is your deathless self, that which is beyond death, that which cannot die. And the mind fears this. You see, the mind wants to play in the realm of phenomena. It wants to hold on to phenomenal things because it cannot fathom this no thingness. This primal awareness, this primal witnessing is beyond all things. And the mind becomes fearful of this. It feels like I'm dying. I'm not ready for it. Is it? And yet,
Yeah.
and yet, it is your heart's deepest longing. It is your heart's deepest longing. Otherwise, you would not even go there. You would not even venture on that street if you really want to get to that destination. But somewhere in your heart, you know you want this. As quick as you get there, because it is no thing, then the fear can come. This is like the godliness, the fear of death. Okay? This is
Yeah.
common for everyone as they come to this experience of nothingness, this experience of that which is beyond phenomena. This fear is not uncommon. In fact, it is very common. And that is why it is very helpful to have a living master, to go to someone who you can really be with or ask this question in this way, where they can tell you what happened and how it was with them. And they will tell you that even if this fear is coming, let it come, let it play out. Continue with the inquiry and see what difference is even that. Or be aware of this fear. And the thought comes, I don't want that yet. It is too soon, too early. I'm not ready for that. You see, then just look at this thought and say, what witness is that? Is that fearful? Is that shaking? Is something
Yeah.
happening?
Okay.
So here, there is very little more instruction to give you actually, but I can give you this reassurance that there might be this fear that I'm going to fall, I'm going to die, but actually you're not going to fall, you're not going to die. You're going to discover your true self, which is so untouched by anything which is between birth and death. Anything that the world can throw at you, you will see that you are beyond that. In fact, you are becoming eternal. You are becoming immortal. It is not death.
Yes. I think you're right that I have in my heart a deep longing for this because I'm not a spiritual or religious person. I live a very detached life and still I keep coming back to this, like just on my own kind of. And I just need to realize that there is nothing to fear, I guess, because I don't exist or something, I guess. And yeah, there was something else I was gonna say, I can't remember. But yeah, I think you answered my question really well, and I didn't think about the watching even the watcher that is afraid, or the ego that's afraid, watching that even. That's good. Thank you.
So the fear is just an arising of an energy. If something arises energetically within you, then the mind will follow that up with the thought. It will say, see, now you're not ready for this. See, this is too much. Stop. Very convincing. He's a very good actor. He's a very good actor. So he'll just give you this fear. He'll just give you this interpretation of the fear, which means that, oh, you have to stop now.
And I also feel that every single time this experience happens, the mind kind of tries to reconstruct itself. So like
Yes.
I get all of these egotistical thoughts about myself, and like it tries so hard to hold on that
Yes.
it's just ridiculous. You know, it's powerful, I guess.
So, and Guruji says that as the mind starts to see that this is what is happening, then it says to all its cousins also it calls and says, come, this one is leaving us.
But the weird thing is, it's so obvious when you see it, but I could still spend years if I don't, like, if I try to think myself into it. But it's so obvious. It is so ridiculously obvious that it's just in front of your nose when you see it, but it's so hidden still. It's so weird.
Now, there are a couple of things I want to say about this. One is that you cannot really solve it like an equation. because the inference is very obvious. Okay? What is that which witnesses all things which move? That itself must be unmoving. What is that which witnesses all that is phenomenal? That itself is not phenomenal. Because what would witness that? But many are coming to the inference of that. What you are coming to is the insight of it. So the mind will come and try to participate in this exercise of inquiry. And it will also say, okay, but the answer is so obvious. Why aren't you getting it? Because the answer like that, in a conceptual way, is not the answer you're looking for. It is that moment of self-recognition, that moment of insight which is happening for you, is it? That is looking for some settling in. That is looking for some settling in, because that is your heart's longing now. The heart is looking to do that true insight which you're having. And as you remain in satsang, as you continue in satsang, you will find that this fear will seem so strong, is it? Will start to seem like just a minor irritant, minor pesky mosquito. It won't have that much power over you. The second thing I wanted to tell you is that just notice where you continue to place the eye. So because the mind in its interpretation will still make you individual in a way. Although what you're discovering about yourself is your non-individualistic nature, non-phenomenal traits. But it will still say, if you go there, if you jump into that, you see, that will be too much for you. But actually, it is not you which is jumping into that. This aspect, I'm not sure what the name is, this play of body and mind, name and form, is just a arising aspect which is coming out of that. So actually, you're not jumping into anything. You're just noticing that this aspect of dynamic consciousness is now recognizing its own source. It's like, it's not that the wave is jumping into the ocean, but it is the wave, the play of the wave is recognizing its depth, recognizing what it truly is. It's been confused about its true nature and feeling that it is a limited wave. But now it is discovering that you are the ocean itself. The mind has been the lawyer for your wave identity. So now as it is finding the ocean and your eye is shifting from the wave to the ocean, then the mind feels like it's losing the case, it's losing the battle. So now will come with full strength. But actually you are not even jumping into anything. You're just recognizing what is already here.
Yeah.
No move actually required. It is just a simple scene.
Yes.
So this is very good. I enjoy your report. I enjoy your inquiry, because you're looking beyond this part is the phenomenal part. You're looking beyond that which is phenomenal, and you're looking at the nature of this itself, and then you're looking at where this perceiver also comes from, who this attention also reports back to. All these things you're inquiring about.
And just one more thing, I feel like when I watch spiritual videos of satsangs and such, I feel like I'm still making it into a goal, and the experience just comes whenever. Like my strongest was when I was opening the fridge or something. So it just happens. So like I feel like I'm still making things into a goal if I watch spiritual videos, because then it's me trying to get enlightened, which is of course not possible. So should I just relax and try to inquire? Is that all I should do?
My suggestion would be that don't fill up your head with too many different spiritual concepts. Then find one path, one lineage, one master that appeals to you, and stay with one set of pointing. Because there are many things that come along the way that it is very helpful to have somebody point them out to you, because they walked along the same way. Otherwise, you can spend a lot of time. Like here, I spent a lot of time with like the inquiry experience I told you about, feeling guilty about these things. If I had Guruji in my life then you could have just told me that it's just a thought, forget about it, it's nothing. So those who have been through this They're very helpful. They can hold your hand and take you across these obstacle course in a way. So, but not too many different because everybody has, the problem is that although the seeing, the discovery might be different, the terminology for communication is different for everyone. You see? So some
Yeah.
use the word awareness to even talk about the perception or witnessing. You see? Some use awareness to talk about the absolute. So stick to those who have the same vocabulary, the same dictionary. Otherwise, it's going to become more and more confusing.
Yeah. Thank you.
This
I
way,
have to go.
yes,
Thank you for your instruction. It was very, very helpful.
thank
Namaste.
you. Happy to meet you.
You too.
Jyotima, Jyotima. Jyotima asked this question. Father, if you see it as a dream movie, then any desire that arises is also part of the dream. So many times when we watch a movie, we have a desire for a particular outcome. How does that happen? Because we must be relating to the characters as if they are real. We must be relating to the outcome as if it affects us in some way. So that's why I've spoken to you about what we call as emotion. Actually, we can look at it in two ways. Now, the first is just momentarily some feeling can come, anger can come, hunger can come, lust can come. Any of this emotion can arise. You see? But we make suffering out of it by mixing concepts with that. We can make guilt out of lust by saying, oh, you're supposed to be spiritual. Oh, you cannot experience that. So we can pick up a concept. So things like this, I call them grade B emotions, like guilt, resentment, grievances, regret, remorse, pride, arrogance, specialness. So we have the generic term suffering, but suffering is just all of these. Grade B. There's things, appearances mixed up with thought concepts, okay, which we make suffering out of them. So, so depends on what you mean by desire. If you just feel like, I want to smell this flower. So just the momentary movement in the movie, if you refer to that as desire, yes, that can be spontaneous. But mostly what people suffer from is the idea that my life should be like this. I should only have flowers every day. These kind of things. Now today Satsang hall is full. Well, not full, but quite full. So there are some flowers here, nicely decorated. Now I know tomorrow nobody might be here. So then, if I'm attached, if my desire is every day there should be flowers here, then that can cause suffering. You got the distinction? So if something is just arising momentarily, you want to get the smell. This flower doesn't have a smell, but that that movement is just a play in the movie. But when we are attached to a particular way, the play must go. It must only be like this. This is what I want, and this is what I don't want. You see, these things, these become suffering. These cannot happen without thought. This cannot happen without belief in thought. Cannot happen without consciousness itself giving its assent to playing as an individual entity. Consciousness speaking with consciousness, reminding itself that if you consciousness are done with this game, then you consciousness must not pick up a limited idea about yourself.
Father, can I say something?
Yes, yes.
So no, it was like in the context of when like when I wake up from a dream, then I can immediately see that every desire or whatever I did or didn't do in that dream was a dream. And I don't judge myself for what I did or didn't do in that dream. You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, when you were saying that, okay, when I in my awakening, when I saw this whole thing as a play, so I mean, I'm just that's the thing, that you want to wake up here and now from this. Now it's conceptual that this is a dream, right? It's an inference at some level. I mean, and you're trying to make through, not through that inference, but say, okay, initially like a logically, and then you said don't think of it logically because that's not going to work. But by just this dropping or this surrender or whatever, there are glimpses that, okay, this, for a bit, it just seems like, okay, I'm not doing anything actually. And then when say a desire arises suddenly, that's when you get caught and I get confused that, oh, and then I say that, okay, and then that instruction of yours, don't pick any notion about yourself, not even one, kind of like frees you again. I mean, and you have to just wait for that that energetic whatever arose to go away. But sometimes it just feels like, I mean, again, there's that sense of doing, of that I'm waiting and I'm witnessing to watch what is true, what is false. It gets exhausting, Father. It's like a,
One
yeah,
experiment, because,
yeah.
and I'm going to rule out of this in second. So whatever we are talking about, we will not speculate about this from the past. We will not see how it was in the previous report. But we are going to look and see how is that going to happen? How can I make that, reproduce that? It should be a situation now, from now on. Is it? So from now on, in this moment, how can you reproduce this which you're speaking about?
I can't.
That is an important discovery, isn't it?
Yes.
Because what happens is that we try to solve the complaint of the non-existent one using something from the past. But now we are looking fresh with it. And the way I can, if I was to look up to buy this machine, and I can see that the power of believing a notion is so clearly here.
Father, the sound is not coming clearly. It's like just breaking, and the sentences are not like really being made. Or maybe it's, yeah.
So is it like this for everyone else as well? Video. Anyone else? Maybe you.
Oh.
So what helps here is that I find that when I'm not able to hear the question, then I mute my mic, because it makes the pipe available only for one side traffic. So sometimes it becomes better that way. Maybe you can try something like this. So what I was saying simply is that once you see that from here, it is quite a leap to come into that situation. You see, then you see that actually my mind is trying to keep me caught up in an idea about myself, using some seeming past evidence to make a conclusion of what happens to you. You see? But if it really happens to you, it can happen to you now. You see? Now Gopala will say, but now I'm in satsang. so, so don't leave satsang.
No, I know what you're saying, because like it's like this swinging, but it's even that seems to be seen, Father. Basically, the only way it seems to be come back into that space of emptiness or whatever we want to say is when I just again consciously just remember or to surrender that you are the one who's the experiencer, you, Father, is the one who's the experiencer and the doer. And then that something just drops and there's this emptiness again and this just witnessing. So, and even like with Guruji's pointing of isness, it's the same thing happens. You just, yeah. I mean, you're saying, okay, it's now. But if can't one just use this tool? I mean, if you're basically you're getting messed up somewhere.
What I'm saying is that, why do I say now? Because if it is true, if it is real, if it has any substance, it must be here now. You see, otherwise it's just made up. We cannot, if I ask you, say the 3 sentences I spoke 1 minute ago, you cannot reproduce it accurately, you see. The memory is so all over the place, it's so unreliable that we cannot even recall things exactly from a minute ago. So those things which happened yesterday, day before, are we really sure that they ever really happened? Or is it the mind actually saying that, oh, this is the symptom that you have now and this is what we need to solve? Mostly for many of us now in satsang, I feel like these ghost symptoms, they're just not really here now, but just like these ghost symptoms which seem to get picked up. So that is the beauty of this pointing, this self-recognition in the moment now, that even if something is in the memory, we don't give it so much meaning, so much importance. Meaning is for that which is true now. What is real? What is here? Who are you in this moment? Otherwise, our stories get replaced from personal stories to spiritual stories. But we don't know their veracity actually. We never know.
Thank you, Father.
Very good. Nancy says, Father, just a comment. I had a dream last night that I realized I died, but I was still here. You and Muji were in the car driving, and I was texting you. Muji was driving. Guruji was driving. Julian says, Father, unfortunately, I follow like 100,000. Yes. Unfortunately, I follow 100,000 different teachings because of the mind's intellectual journey that is now seen to not lead anywhere. So I try my best to be clear. When I relax or let go of thinking and feeling, I notice that which remains unchanged, the presence of awareness, I call it. Do you say there's I, even witnessing this aware presence? Do you say there's I, even witnessing this aware presence? Now, like Nitya will say, she gets triggered every time I say it's a bit subtle. Now, this aware presence, we have to have some clarity about that. Because awareness, the absolute, the self, is beyond even the sense of presence, the sense of presence. And yet, it is before I am, always present. But you can never really say that I am experiencing the presence of pure awareness. You can use it as a word, but not the feeling that, like you can experience. If I ask you, can you stop being? You can experience the presence of existence, the presence of being. So, aware presence can be a beautiful term that we can use for the entirety. Awareness, the unchanging, non-phenomenal, and its dynamic manifestation, being. So, which way we're using the term aware presence. Now, you ask this question, which is more important, which is there an I which witnesses even this awareness? Is it? Now, if this is very, very, very important, but we will not understand this if we hold on to any notion about I. And if I ask you, now this discovery of awareness, you find that only awareness is, there is nothing else. Now, if only awareness is, then is it not self-aware? Then how would even the report come only awareness is? It is not witnessing itself as if it is a thing. It is not experiencing as a phenomena. And yet, it is the supreme intelligence. Now, what kind of supreme intelligence would it be if it did not even know itself? Not is it?
Yeah.
That dumb that it is not even clear about what it is. Then what would be so cool about this awareness? How would this intelligence arise from this awareness, and that ability to recognize awareness come within that if itself it was empty of it? So because we have an idea about what it means to witness, because our idea of what it means to witness is to perceive, to see, or to smell, or to taste, then when we say that the primal witness is self-aware, then it can seem confusing. It can seem like, but there is no witnessing happening there. There is no perception happening there. There is no play of attention happening there. But I is aware of itself. It is only aware of itself is a much better way to say it actually. It is never aware of anything else but itself. So that's why the term witnessing also depends on how you're using it. If you mean the primary in capital W, which is that awareness is aware of itself and aware of its dynamic play consciousness. I am aware of my existence, and I am aware that I am aware of my existence. To the mind, it can be very confusing, but it's very simple. Even to make a report, I ask you, Julian, are you aware of your existence? You say, yes, I'm aware of my existence. You see? Now, in that statement itself, you answered your question. Because to say I am aware already, forget the of what. You are aware that you are aware. To be able to report I am aware of whatever. Already there is an awareness of what awareness is. So don't use any of this for none of you. Don't use any of this to activate your mind in some way. Again, you will not be able to compute this. All I'm saying is that what makes it possible for us to say, I am aware? Is it a phenomena? Is it a thought? Is it a feeling? It is none of these. What is it that makes these words seem to have more integrity? I am aware than I am a green cow. Is it, if it was fictional, if it was just made up, then why is it that when we say I am aware, it seems, yeah, of course, I am aware. Versus when we say I am the pink elephant or green cow or something. What gives the truth to that?
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's still out of habit that I try to make awareness into something that I can find and then grasp, maybe. But sometimes I glimpse this, that awareness is just aware, and even this phenomenal presence. Sometimes it's very clear, and it's funny because it depends so much on the situations and the concepts that are in the situation that sometimes I don't get it, and sometimes it's totally easy.
This
Uh,
I from the equation, then everything will be fine.
mhm,
The I that gets it sometimes and doesn't get it sometimes, is that one here now?
mhm.
Where is
What?
that one?
Oh, I misunderstood it, I guess.
Yes. So that one which seems to get it sometimes and sometimes seems to miss it. What is the nature of that one right now?
Changing.
Yes. So right now, you see, if there is one that is changing, what witnesses this one?
That one which is not changing.
Yes. So which one is truly you
Of
can be changed?
course, the one that I am can't change. It has to be, yeah,
Then don't
unchanging.
give so much concern or importance or value to the one that changes, which means can get it sometimes, can miss it sometimes. That is just part of the movement of this phenomenal play.
Mhm.
You can say I like that conversationally, of course. Conversationally, of course. We're not Advaita policing you see. But truly don't give it your belief. Don't say that it truly is me who gets it or not. If you remove this I from this equation, then
What?
the seeming back and forth, the seeming struggle of getting it, losing it, will seem much lighter.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so first Hari said, can I come up? And then Shivani. Hari, Hari, hurry up. Like he got caught into work or something. Maybe Shivani can come first. And then Hari. Huh? Hari? Hari. Shivani can come and then.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, where are you? There you are.
Do I have audio?
Very good.
Hello.
A little bit. Yeah, but I hear you.
Okay. I don't know why I came. I just haven't been for a while, so yeah, I don't know. Stuck my hand up now. I'm regretting it actually. So many things, Father, that are trying to be important, but I just don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. Like I really don't know. Yeah, there's so many things I want to say, but they're just. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can you hear?
I can hear you. It's just about. So one more thing that happened here is after I met Guruji, most of the things that I knew, I don't know anymore. So is it bad news that you don't know, or is it good news that you don't know?
I don't know actually. Sometimes it feels like. Sometimes it's like. I don't know, Father. I feel like I don't know anything. Even to answer that, I don't even know.
Yeah. This is good. This is good. Now, why does it sound like it is bothering you in some way?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to, but I don't know if it's important. I just. Why is it bothering? It's like I just feel like it's like something is trying to grab a hold of something, like anything. Like like there's nothing, almost nothing in the life. Like
Yes.
it's it's kind of driving me a bit crazy because it's like every single thing, even Satsang, like becoming
Yeah.
tired of Satsang, and like it's like I haven't even got this to grab onto anymore. It's like it just something is like not liking it at all. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't even know if that's true. I don't know.
So this kind of play can happen, isn't it? That there can be a play where it just satsang is the best satsang. My life is for satsang, only satsang. You can have that position, and then there can be a time where you can say, no satsang, enough satsang. It's the same stuff. A lot of things can come. But ultimately, it is neither position, neither this nor that. Now, I'm getting a gist of your question a little bit, and I'm not sure whether this is the correct gist, but maybe we've spoken about this also a little bit earlier. You see? What you're finding is that this life, and that's why I call it a play, is inherently meaningless. You see? It's inherently meaningless. Now, this is a terrible discovery if you consider yourself to be an object in this life. If you consider yourself to be just a mere body mind in this life, then this is terrible discovery, because then what is the point of me? What is the point of my existence in this world? All of this, as you're finding that really searching for meaning in that way seems quite a joke. It just like seemed like a fallacy, a fraud to look for meaning in that way. So in this way, then many who discovered the inherent meaninglessness of life can become nihilistic. You see? What's the point? You see, life has no purpose for me. What am I even doing here? What is the difference whether I'm alive or dead? This kind of thing can come. You see? But what I'm finding is that as I'm seeing that I am not an object contained in this life. You see? So for me, it is like watching an episode of Star Trek or I Love Lucy. What is the point of I Love Lucy? It is just a comedy. It is just entertainment. There is no point. Is it? So it is just something which, in the appearance of which, some joy can emerge when watched at a distance. Is it? Some play can happen. So from the broader perspective, then this discovery that this appearance is so inconsistent, is so meaningless from a mind's perspective. You see, it does not become a nihilistic sort of discovery. In fact, it becomes joyful because there's so much freedom. It doesn't matter whether we go left or right. It doesn't matter whether we jump up and down or we go to sleep. In the play, whatever happens to the body mind and all the body minds around us, really, nothing is ever hurt. Nothing is ever attacked. Nothing truly ever happened. So then this play just becomes more wonderful, more joyful. But so But if we have the idea that I am a part of this play, you see, and I'm just an object that was born here and I will die here, you see, then obviously this discovery of meaninglessness can seem very terrible. Like, what am I doing? What is the point of this? Even satsang, what is happening? What is the point? Even if I discover myself, so what? You see, like that, it can come. So what? Bound or free or uh, anything that might happen, money or no money, relationship or no relationship. What is the point of it all? Can be the question. If I am just an object that had a particular birth and will have a particular death. But if I see that I am not that, if I see that right now there is no person here, there is just this amazingness. I'm not trying to sell it to you, okay? Okay, I am a bit. This amazingness that a non-phenomenal witnessing, a non-phenomenal awareness is aware of this entire play of light and sound, this world of duality. It seems to have so much intricacy and so much beauty and wonder. Just all of us being able to sit here like this, in this play, I am aware of all of this. I am ultimately untouched by it. And yet, this is so wonderful. So, so, but if I was just this Ananta who comes every day to satsang, is he repeating the same story? Nobody really listening, everybody misunderstanding what I'm really saying. Is he for year after year the same story? Oh man, what is the point of this Ananta? And like that. So even if I identify as an object that's Ananta, which by himself has a very beautiful life actually, you see, then if I look for reasons to trouble myself, I can find lots of reasons. You see? But I'm saying that when I find that I am aware of even the play of this Ananta, I see that he's a regular nice guy, quite well intentioned in what he's trying to do, even with his Sangha. And I enjoy this play. It's like a nice movie that I'm watching. And there is a little bit of interest in how his life goes, but not so much, not so concerned about what the ending will be like. I know for sure certain one thing, that the body of Ananta will end up on a funeral pyre one day. So if we try to look for meaning in this mortal existence, then that is a fallacy. So, but in the meanwhile, before that happens, when he is available, when I wake up, I find that this body is still there. There's not a sense of disappointment about that. Now, you are seeing what I'm seeing. It's just that how we are interpreting it seems to be a little different. Actually, neither interpretation is true. You know this. You've been in satsang long enough to know that I'm not speaking something which is the gospel truth or something. I'm just trying to shake everyone out of their positions so that we can become empty of position. So neither position is true. But sometimes I use the opposite position just to shake you out of some position that you might be taking. So what's so bad right now? If you don't project in the future or don't pick up anything from the past, what's so bad right now?
Nothing, so. Nothing.
Nothing but
No, the butt's always there. The butt is always there.
so what is the but that you could believe right now?
It's just, yeah.
sometimes saying it out loud helps, because when you say it out of your mouth, when you notice it coming out and saying, wow, that was something that I was believing.
Sorry, Father. It's just breaking up.
Breaking up? Okay.
You totally the internet broke.
Okay, how's the internet for the rest of you? Is my audio clear? Audio is clear for the rest. Yeah, she's frozen now. Something happened. Hurry! Is Shivani still there? Oh, where is she? Maybe you have to reconnect. You want to reconnect? It's quite clear now again. You want to try once? This is good.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. What about you?
Yeah, I can hear.
Good.
Sorry, it just totally went crazy, so I don't know what you said.
Yes. Same here. You froze up here, so I'm not sure where you were.
Yeah, Father, there's nothing wrong right now. Like, there's always a but if you want to pick it up. It's just that what you were saying is just that. Sorry about feedback. It's just that nihilistic thing that you're saying. This voice of like everything's pointless and blah blah blah. But I wouldn't say it's strong, but it's kind of winning a bit lately. It's like, because something like when things started, like when the mind started changing about Satsang, like, and all that, it's like even this thing that was so important, like this, I'm so serious, like I'm so serious about Satsang, it's not funny. Like, like just, it felt so strong. And then it was like, seemed to be a lot of rubbish. It was just like this huge sadness came, like, even this thing is rubbish, like. So then this big bad attitude came, of what you're saying.
I wouldn't say it's rubbish. It's just because it is neutral. So because even that is a position, isn't it? Either it is too good, or it is just rubbish. Is it? It is neither. It is just what it is.
No, not Satsang. I didn't mean like Satsang is rubbish. I just meant even this self that is so serious about Satsang, like all the stuff that went along with it, like, yeah, just everything that went along with it, not Satsang itself, not like, yeah.
Yes. That identity of the Sangha member, the identity of the one in Satsang, is good actually if that is also swept away. Now, if we say that everything is pointless, would there be a pointless means that first there must be what would have been a point? Can we identify that? What would not have been pointless?
Just, I don't know, actually.
Is there anything which is not personal, which could have given some meaning to this world?
Not really, but Father, there's certain things like, I don't know, I'm starting to get all choked up, but there's certain things like my kids, for example, it just seems to be like, I don't know, I'm getting choked up. But yeah, there's like this choked up feeling of like everything's meaningless. Like, I don't know why. It just feels like a I don't know. It just feels horrible. Like, kind of shocking. Like, what the hell? Like even the good stuff is pointless. Even the I don't know, fella. I can't talk. I'm gonna let you talk.
So it's a very good question. Everyone can ask themselves, what is it that is not personal and yet could have been an idea we had which was the meaning of life? That is the cat example, isn't it? I don't say it like that, but that is the cat example. We went after one bowl of milk, said, if you get a good education, that is how life is meaningful. If you get a good relationship, get good children, that is how life is meaningful. And you say, if you get this, you get that, that is how life is meaningful. Then we were told that if you come to this enlightenment, that is how life is meaningful. Now, what happens with enlightenment is that we see that you are no longer the cat. So life is seen rather than a vehicle to search for meaning. Life becomes this wonderful play. If it still had some meaning, that something should happen in this life for meaning to come, then I would not be complete already. Both things cannot be true. Meaning means something should be derived in this play so that something can be gotten by me. But I am already everything, all there is. Now, what meaning can anything which is appearing and disappearing give me? What point can I have here? So, in the demolition of the cat, you are not becoming a cat who has come to the conclusion that there is no bowl of milk which is meaningful. That is the nihilistic voice. The cat which is saying that no bowl of milk is attractive to me anymore. But you are not finding yourself to be the cat. You are finding yourself to be the entire space in which all of this play of cat and milk has happened. What can give meaning to you? What meaning would you have expected which is aligned with your discovery of who you are? You're choked up a bit, so I can continue my monologue for a bit. It's fine. What I'm saying, that the first or the second satsang that we ever had, I told you that there is a pen on the table, and that pen on the table is your next thought. Now the only thing you have to do is pick up that pen or not pick up it. And if you pick up that pen, all that you have to do is just drop it. Now the pen that might be getting picked up is that, oh, even this doesn't work or is pointless or something like that. So don't even pick up that. In your emptiness, show me the struggle with the pointlessness of display. Empty of any concept. What is the struggle actually? Sometimes I feel like those satsangs were very nice because they were very straightforward and simple. I would just use this simple example. Pen and picking it up and dropping it.
Father, one thing that gets like sticky is this thing. Actually, I don't know.
Whatever you might want to tell me, I want to tell you this. And I know I always say Shivani is my twin sister, and people wonder because we don't necessarily look alike or something, but we had the same childhood in a way, similar childhood. So I joke with her like that. So she can also fire back at me sometimes. So she'll say, "This was rubbish, and this I don't like," and something like this. You might say that about this, but I'm very, 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 very certain that what you are in this moment, who you are in this moment, has no trouble, has no struggle. Whatever the emotion might be coming up, whatever the thoughts might be coming up, really you are untouched by it. Now, what are you going to exchange this for? You don't have to be any way. You don't have to have any idea about how life should play out. You don't have to have any conclusion about anything at all. But what sounds like bad news to you sounds like wonderful news to me. All these things are so freeing. If I had to have 10 conclusions about my life, now that would be a struggle. If I had to know which way my kids' lives are going to go, then that would be a struggle. If I don't have to hold on to anything at all, and I'm seeing that I actually cannot, I don't see the struggle. You exist right now. How you exist? Nobody can answer this question. Nobody, no sage can give you a good answer even to this question. How you exist. It's the most miraculous thing. It might not be meaningful conceptually, but it's so amazing. How can you manage to exist? And that you can never exist beyond this existence that you are. No matter what might be coming in life or what might be going in life, this is it. So if you're going to allow the shades of what is appearing to make a conclusion about what life is, you see, then we are falling into the mind trap.
Father, can I it's kind of like this thing of I feel like just this always trying to steer things, you know, because basically it's like I just feel like the way that it plays here, I can't function. So there's always this like trying to control things because I have to function. Like I have to function. I can't not. And yet, when you say like, you know, in this moment, what is wrong? If I was in a cave and I didn't have to fucking deal with anything, I could say nothing is wrong. Nothing's wrong. But to function, I feel like everything is wrong. If that makes any sense. if I could just be left alone, everything's fine, but it's not how it is.
Sorry. I feel like you're functioning very well right now. You're putting together a coherent set of words. How is it happening? In life, there are only two things that people expect from us. Just speaking phenomenally for a moment. You see? One is our hands and feet to move a certain way, and the second is our mouth to function a certain way. Basically, it's it. All that we call action and what we have to do. And it seems like the mouth is functioning quite naturally right now in the words that it is speaking. I'm sure that the hands and feet can also work that way. The one that has taken the burden of functioning, that one is the troublesome one. I have to function because I want to take the position of not having to do anything and be left alone. Now, is that one really real, or you're just feeling that that is true about you?
Rather like not getting out of bed and going. It started like first it was getting out of bed and going to school, or now it's getting out of bed and going to work, or getting up and looking after the girls, or it just feels like I have to do something to get this happening, like, because the way it plays here is just this negativity all the time, just this. So something, it feels like I can't just let things be because it doesn't work. Like, I would be, I don't know where I'd be living on the streets or something, I don't know. It feels like that. I don't know if that's dramatic or just on a basic level. It feels like maybe if I lived in India, it would be fine. I can live on the street in India, but here I can't. I don't know.
Someone who's very close to me, she's suffering from depression. So what she's been advised to do is do something called CBT. I don't know if you are aware. CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. And I realized looking at the CBT thing, that is just satsang. Basically, they're also auditing what is it that you're believing about yourself, where does the negativity come from, what was the root of all of these conditions, where do they come from, how to empty yourself out from these things. So I found that a lot of it is very much exactly the same as satsang. Now, over there also, she is also having to go through these same things where she goes through, and it becomes quite painful sometimes for her to go through it, where she has to see, so what is it that I'm really believing about myself? What I'm buying the story of this negativity and worst case scenario, but is it really true? Is this how things are really playing out? So, so like this, I feel like some concepts are being given some room there, but we have to find some way in which we can shine our light on them. Maybe something like what Byron Katie does, for example. The work is also very useful because there are just some one or two conditions which are getting picked up, and somewhere the words of satsang also can be used by the mind to reinforce our negative feeling, like this is not working for me anymore, this is not really helping, something like that. So I feel like we can agree on one thing, that without a notion, without a condition, right now you have no struggle. Then the notion of having to function, then I feel like I have to do it, can come up. You see? But here also in the past couple of weeks, a lot of functioning has happened through this body. But somehow it is not, the notion has not been picked up that, oh, I am having to do this, or I have been having this life, or my life has become so like this. Why do I have to do? When functioning is required and life energy is there, functioning will happen. If functioning is required and life energy is not there, no matter what we do, the functioning will not happen. Isn't it? So, so grace is very, very intelligent that way. If you see that you're not falling for the tricks of the mind, and if functioning is truly needed, then it is life itself, it is consciousness itself. Grace itself has created that situation for us. Then it is Grace's job also to provide the energy for that. You don't have to struggle with where do I get this energy from. But don't take a position that I don't want to or I want to.
Yeah, although I'm seeing that like with work, like it just happens. Like, you know, I get there, it happens. When I think I could, you know, even like I might be half an hour before thinking I can't go. That's it, I just can't go, and then I'm there doing it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
So you have two options rather than the usual two options. I'll come in a few minutes. This thing isn't working. I have to remove. Where to go? Yes. So I was saying that you have three options. One option is to go with your mind's report on the pointlessness or the meaninglessness of life. The second option is to let everything be my problem. Seriously, I mean it. The third option is to inquire. The inquire. That seems like too much trouble. Just let it be my mind to deal with. You say very beautifully yourself that in spite of whatever position I might be taking about my work, I just seem to show up, and work also seems to just happen. The same one that is doing all of this is beating our heart, is pumping our blood, is making our breath happen. That one we can trust.
yeah, that's pretty much it, Mama. It's all that. It's pretty much where it is. I just don't know. So I can't do it anymore. Whatever it is.
I'm always with you, my dear. Always here. You can always write to me as well. I know that when we're in the midst of all of this, we can feel like we're completely alone and abandoned and nobody loves us or something like that. But know that I love you, love you, love you more than I could have loved even my actual twin sister if I had one. And don't worry about silly things like being homeless or something like that. We're here to deal with all of these situations if they come. Hari had wanted to come some time ago, and we invited him to come, but he was not there. I wonder if he's here now.
Yeah, Father, just a minute.
Ah, okay. You're going to the conference room. Okay, that's good.
Sorry, yeah, to keep it like.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Sorry for the.
Yeah. No trouble at all.
Something kind of just wanted to know like what is your experience? Can you hear me properly? Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, for a moment it is okay. So try now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Father, it's like just wanted to understand from you what is your experience. Do you like something I was contemplating on that? Uh, 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 do you feel you are in time and space? Means you are in physical form and space is like it's a linear continuance, or is it like means you time and space also in a dimension is like in a one hand of you which coming up and going back, but you do you relate yourself as a linear existence, or just something I was contemplating, so felt like us.
Yes, this is very good. No, actually, conversationally, of course, we have to say that it is just linear this way. Yesterday this happened, today is like this, tomorrow will be like this. But actually, this linear flow is just like attention also flows in a linear way sometimes. We look from, okay, say look from left to right. In space, it can go in a linear seeming way. Same way in time, it goes in a linear seeming way. But actually, it is not linear in that way. Everything that exists. You see, time and space are just ways in which to taste that existence. Existence already encompasses everything. We're tasting ourselves using these two tools of time and space. My existence is not limited to time and space. It is not linear, not backward, not forward, not in any sequence. It is already all there is. But to taste it phenomenally, you need the tools, the axis of time and space. So these things, like you said, are insights on your own contemplation. I can't really give you an answer which then, once that answer is spoken, that insight is there. But continue these contemplations, they're very beautiful. They're very, very beautiful. You will recognize, as you're recognizing yourself more and more, you're also recognizing the fleeting nature of time and space and what they are. That, let's take an example. Hari was here in this room, seemingly some time ago. And Hari is on the computer right now. But where is all of this? In my existence. Really, I don't have the best words to explain these things. But just stay with these contemplations and see what is arising. But for those of you who are not so interested in these contemplations, don't worry about it. As you're coming to insights about what you are and your limitlessness, your boundless nature beyond time and space, then all of these insights, these contemplations might seem more attractive to you at some point. So,
Thank
thank you, thank you. Weren't you going to come to Bangalore? When was that?
I will be coming on 15th.
When?
I will be coming on 15th.
On the 15th. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Good.
Just felt like sharing something. Yeah, even like whether it's like even in office or work or it it more and more like just this as long as my attention on it's like something is I don't know how to the word is it's more like if it's something is appearing and disappearing although there is in a sense of personality or that's but on the same time everything is appearing and disappearing. It's kind of okay. It appears and it disappears. It's like only I am focusing on that, or if I am engaged with it, and as long as this is there, I am engaged with something, then only it is there. If I'm not engaged, the moment I don't engage, it just drop, irrespective. Sometimes certain deep-seated like belief they hold something, but at the same time, it's more and more. As long as I am engaged with something, it is exists. The moment I doesn't engage, it's drop.
Very good. Very good. This is very good. Very, very natural life goes on like this. Yes, when something is there, it is engaged with. When it is not there, not so much uh, intellectual or mental processes go on about that. This way, life becomes very light and natural. Nitya says, Father, the position that we have taken can be so subtle. Ah, see? That it seems that there is not even a position. Yes, yes. You can only grasp it in that sense that there is a sense that there is a sense of suffering. Yes. Good. Murad says, loving what is, love that statement by Byron Katie takes me right into the now, dropping the expectations. Luckily, she's coming to Boston tomorrow and we are going to meet with her in the evening. But sorry, this is wordy, but loving what is in another way of saying, don't pick up the next thought. Yes. Thank you. Okay, enough for today. I see Baswant also came in. Hello, my dear.
Hello, Father. So good to
Hey.
see you.
Same, same.
Love you, Father. Love you.
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Moji Ji ki Jai.
Jai. Sadhguru Shri Ananda Ji ki Jai.